Roll call. Let the record show that all commissioners are present. Commissioner Cardenas, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Thank you, Commissioner Cardenas. Moving on, approval of the agenda as submitted. Motion by Commissioner Perroni, second. Commissioner Cardenas. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on, public comments, non-agendized item. If anyone in the audience wants to approach the podium at this moment, you may do so. Seeing none, we're moving on. Approval of consent agenda of minutes of February 26, 2018. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Perroni, second. Second by Commissioner Cardenas. All those in favor, please say aye. Pass unanimous. Moving on, informational items. I guess our city clerk will be giving us some information on 700 forms.
Good afternoon, Planning Commissioners. Gabby Garcia, City Clerk, City of Calexico. And I'm here to remind you that the 700 form Statement of Economic Interest is due on April the 2nd. You as Planning Commissioners have to file your 700 form with the state at the FPPC e-disclosure system. You no longer submit a paper copy to our office. You now go online and you submit it online. I believe most of you did it last year. I gave you a link that you can go to in order to log on. A couple of you have already, I think, taken care of it. But I do want to remind you that it's very important because you do now file directly with the FPPC, and they will know if you are late. Also, you are subject to a $10 a day fine if you do not submit your 700 form on time, and this is directly with FPPC. If you have any problems or any questions about signing on, if you've forgotten your password or your login, please give me a call and I can reset that for you. If you need a computer or someplace to go to submit your form, or if you don't have a place to do it, you can always come into our office and we will set you up and you can do it at our office. So if you have any questions regarding that.
When is the deadline, Gabby?
April 2nd,
April 2nd. And
next Monday.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, and also I just wanted a quick reminder on the ethics training. If you are past the 2 years of the training, if you could please, I also gave you another link for that, and the training is online with the FPPC. It's a 2-hour training, and you do want to stay on the set for more than 2 hours because if you do not, it will give you additional time to do the training. It is a training where you go through and it asks you questions, and once you finish the training, after 2 hours, you would be able to complete it, print out the form, and submit it to our office. Most of you probably took the training less than 2 years ago. However, if it's been past the 2-year deadline, then you would need to do it again.
Is there a deadline for the training? Oh,
As soon as possible for you, yes. Okay,
any
that'll
questions?
be all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Gabby. Moving on, Planning Commission attendance record. Ralph or Mark? No? No? Just not acknowledge the Planning Commission attendance record. Okay, moving on. Public hearing, tentative map, parcel map, UA 2017-23. The applicant has submitted 2 tentative parcel maps to legally subdivide each existing parcel in land into two separate parcels for a total of 4 parcels, approximately 18 acres, located along Weekly Road between Portico Boulevard and east of the extension of Estrada Boulevard on the west. Okay. Presentation by Mr. Ralph Morales.
Yes, Chairperson, Planning Commissioners. The owner of the property that's located in the corner of Portico and Weekly has two tentative map parcels, or two tentative parcel maps, rather, that they are interested in legally subdividing each into two parcels each, which will end up being 4 parcels altogether. What they have right now is approximately 18 acres. The 4 parcels that they're going to be dividing, then it would end up being a little over 4 acres each, and then one being about 5 acres. This parcel map is exempt from the formal environmental review pursuing to section 15315, which is under the minor land division for the CEQA guidelines. Also, in this, we have reviewed it. We did go to the project review committee. They went ahead and reviewed the parcel map, and it was recommended by the project review committee to for it to move forward and to parcel off those properties. So because of this, then staff is requested a motion to approve each tentative parcel map separately with the adoption of the required findings and conditions for each. So it's staff recommendation that the Planning Commission open a public hearing and allow input from those that are for it and those that are against the proposed tentative parcel map. And then the recommendations to approve by taking the following action, which would be motion to adopt the applicable finding and condition under Planning Commission Resolution number 2018-08, approving a tentative parcel map number 058-020-028. And then the other one. Oops, I lost my notes. And then the other one would also be approved, and that would be under 2018-09. And so at this time, we're requesting that the Planning Commission, that the public hearing be opened.
Let's open the public hearing to all those in favor. I have received a request for oral communication from Armando Real, citizen, in support of the project at hand. So we'll acknowledge that. Anybody else in favor of the project? Mr. Romero.
Commission and general public in attendance. First of all, we want to recognize staff for being very helping us processing this and presenting it to the Planning Commission. Before I forget, my name is Jose Carlos Romero, Proterra Engineering, 444 South 8th Street in El Centro. We're the project engineers for this, project surveyors. And we're presenting this project requesting the approval of 2 tentative parcel maps. Each tentative parcel map consists of subdividing an existing lot into 2 lots. And our client approaches because they see the flexibility and the convenience of having 4 different parcels They have been approached by potential buyers wanting to buy one particular existing building, and they don't need to buy both buildings or larger parcels. So we see that advantage, and that's why we proceeded on presenting this to the city, and it's now before you. And if you have any technical questions, we're here to answer. After?
Anybody against the project? No. Moving on. Public hearing has been closed. Do the commissioners have any question for staff or Mr. Romero?
I only have one question. Are we meeting the setbacks? Well, because when this was built, it was all together. Now, are we meeting setbacks on these?
Yes.
Okay. What's the setbacks that you need for, from one building to another?
You have to have 10 feet minimum
Okay, that's in commercial.
between structures.
But that's in commercial?
Mhm.
I do have a question, and this is referenced the memorandum from Mark to Ms. Romero. Bear with me. The heck is it? Here we go. There is a memorandum, Exhibit B, from Mark Vasquez to Jose Carlos Romero. And he has 9 items here that need to be addressed. One of them is, he's asking, indicate how the sheet of, on the sheet how Estrada Boulevard will be connected to Cole Road. I don't see that on the tentative map that we have as backup.
I can answer that.
Please.
Yes.
Thanks.
Basically, when we first met, when the project review committee met with the owner, that was one of the desires that the city had, that there'd be a connection on Estrada so it could continue on and connect to Cole Road. After doing some research and checking into some information, and especially the property, it was found that that property is not owned neither by the applicant nor is it owned by the city. It is being owned by the railroad. So it is unable for the city to be able to demand or request that they do any improvements on a property that is not acquired or is not owned by either party.
Okay, so then the,
And then, excuse me. if I
oh,
may.
okay, I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
No. Then the other thing is that staff looked at is we needed to make sure that there was a connection to the main street. And so there was, the properties on the east side is connected to Portico. The other 2 properties on the west side, they're connected to Weekly. There is a property that is landlocked, and that will have a flag lot in it, as you can see in the map. And on that one, yeah, I think that's, I gotta look at mine. And it indicates that there will be that it will be a flag map there, or flag lot, excuse me, indicating that that will be like an easement so that they can have access to the property in the rear.
So they will have a dedicated easement to,
Well-
oh, it's going to be a private easement?
No, that would be a private, that would be part of the property that's in the rear. So it's not actually an easement, that lot belongs to the property that's going to be on the northwest corner. Maybe I can't.
So but it doesn't matter because it's the same property owners for both parcels? Or what happens if they sell one and the other, how are they going to address that?
Well, the owner of that property is going to be the one that's landlocked. So they're gonna have that access and it's going to belong to them. Ricardo can explain a little better than myself.
Thank you, Carlos.
Can we reopen the public hearing if you would like to have him speak? What was that? I didn't hear you. Can we reopen the public hearing if you'd like to have him speak again?
No, do we need to? It's,
But he's just addressing technical.
he's addressing, the technical questions from staff.
Right, that's correct, but he's the applicant.
Okay. We're going to open the public hearing at this moment. Moving on.
I'm going to use this map here to explain that there's two existing parcels right now. On the west is one parcel, and on the east is this parcel. So we have two tentative parcel maps applications. Now, this parcel right here is going to be, we're requesting to subdivide it in two, but the top portion is have this shape. It has a shape like this, and then it has an access to Weekly. So we call it a flag lot, all right? This is like the pole, the entrance, this is the flag portion. This is going to remain separate from this one, and all of these parcels, they're going to share a access, reciprocal access and parking agreement. That means that they're going to share the access and the parking between the parcels. But legally, this parcel on the north is going to have a legal access to the street. They're going to own this. So nobody can, at any moment, tell them, oh, you cannot access your parcel. They will have the legal, rightfully access to their parcel through Weekly. And the reciprocal access agreement and parking agreement is so they can maneuver their trucks entering and exiting the parcels just like they're doing it right now.
I have a question, Mr. Carlos. And it also would I would love Ralph to address it. I'm going back to the setbacks, Ralph. I see, it's like, for example, we have 25 feet on one, and we have 12 and a half on another. You know, the safety, say there's a fire, is there any issues with a fire truck gaining access through there?
Yeah, well, when we talked to the fire department, they imposed two conditions for this parcel map to go through. One of them is that each individual building has to install their own fire sprinkler system. And they have done that. They separate it, they have their own meter, they have their own alarm, they're independent. In the past, they were combined because it was one owner, even though there were two parcels, it was one owner owning 4 buildings. But now, if a lot was to be sold, now the building has its own sprinkler system. And the second condition was that they need a fire access road that we show surrounding through the west and then to the north. That way they can access on all 4 sides of each, of the buildings to that's a word, I lost the idea.
To fight the fire?
Yes, to fight the fire. That's right. Thank you, Ralph.
Emergencies.
To fight the fire, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry. My main concern on the flag lot is that, let's say the owner decides to sell that portion with the flag lot.
Uh-huh.
How would he address that with the existing traffic flow that you just said? Both of them will have a mutual access to that property, because there will be an egress and, to both, to the lot in the back.
Yes.
So how would they address that situation?
With the reciprocal access and parking agreement.
There will be an agreement
Yes, we have to
stipulated.
record,
and-
we have to record that along with the parcel map, otherwise it won't fly.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, that's a document that also staff asked us to, that we have to write it down, pass it through the city, has to go through the city attorney, and then it records with a map. It goes with the land.
okay. One other question. Why wasn't Strata Boulevard continue to the back?
Was-
Like to access the back of?
Okay, the staff, they brought that up at the PRC.
Uh-huh.
And then we told them, look, there was various reasons. One of them is that the existing buildings, they all operate and they have access through existing streets, so it's really not needed. See, and the idea is to continue operating like that. The second thing was, like Rob said, that you cannot impose a subdivision to build something that, on a property that they don't own. It doesn't belong to them. And besides, it belongs to the Union Pacific Railroad. And it just wouldn't make it feasible to subdivide the parcel because the cost of just purchasing the land. And the third item was that we review the city circulation element and the city's truck routes, and that portion of Estrada from Weekly to Cole is not even called for. So it's not even addressed as a city street. So we said, okay, let's just forget it.
Okay, so these pictures are of pre-existing business there are on those parcels right now? Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's the old paper tissue.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But I thought that was closed.
No, it's been operating. The ones by Portico, I think they're using those two storages, is that correct?
The ones in the front?
Yeah. I don't know about the ones further west, but they're being utilized.
Buildings are all being used. Well, one almost just got vacant.
Okay. No questions for,
On the entrance to the adjacent building, will we have a private gate or something to come in and out for the building that's gonna,
For the flag lot, when they sign the reciprocal access and parking agreement, if they put a gate on Weekly, they will have to share the code to entrance, and exit the gate. But a gate blocking just the flag portion, the pole portion of the flag, I don't think the agreement will allow that.
okay, so they'll be okay with that because of the privacy of the other new owner versus entrance, security-wise?
They'll share the same entrance, that they'll have to share that, and that'll be stipulated on the agreement.
All righty. Okay, only my concern.
I have a question. On that flagpole, on that axis, is there anything blocking that axis in the future if somebody wants to close everything up, leave that west lot on its own? You have that entrance, let's say for some reason they come, they ask for it to be separated and to take off that, and I don't know what you call it, for mutual access. And
Reciprocal.
somebody wants to come in and, because they own the property, they want to fence it up or they want to block it out. Is there something blocking that entrance right there to the street?
Right now, the driveway is, the existing driveway is about 40 feet wide. And that flag lot, we show the concept on the tentative parcel map, and we're probably going to have to widen that line to make it from 20, I think we show it at 25 feet. We'll probably have to make it 40 or 45, so that way they have a complete access to the driveway.
But basically what I'm asking currently, on those 24 feet you have for the flagpole, is there anything blocking that access all the way to the currently, all the way blocking? Let me ask. Anything blocking that access all the way to the street on those 24 feet?
Probably right now, there's a chain link fence that runs right now through there, and it'll be up to the property owners if they want to just remove that fence and you know, just make it so traffic can go through the driveway. But everything is right now with the existing driveway, all the traffic access to both parcels.
Currently, you can currently assure that there's no light poles or, I'm looking at one of these pictures and I do know what that lot, I'm really familiar with that property.
Yeah.
There's a couple of electric posts there.
Hold on, let me get close to that.
Yeah, it's really difficult, that's why I'm asking.
We show that on the east edge. Okay, remember, this is one parcel and this is another parcel, and this line is existing right now. That's where the two lots are separated. Right east, adjacent east to that line, there's a street light there, okay? And there's a water meter, right at the line. But the flag portion is west of that line, west of that water meter.
In Exhibit A, where you have the pictures, and it would be the top right corner on Exhibit A. I don't know if you have it.
Share that with me, that'd be great.
That on those 20.
Okay, that pole is outside of the driveway.
I don't see that pole on the map, on the
Okay, that pole is west of the existing driveway.
It is, okay.
It is west, and that pole probably aligns with the existing property line, so it won't be in the axis of that portion line. See, and if that 24 feet is too narrow, you know, we can always shear that proposed line another 16 feet, so it'll include more driveway width, existing driveway width.
Jose Carlos, so you're proposing to do it with a 24, or will you modify it with 16 more feet? What is,
Right now, we're proposing 24. When we're preparing the final parcel map, it's just a matter of, hold on, go ahead.
Sure.
Hello, Planning Commission. My name's Neil Fox. I'm with Phase 3 Properties. We're the represent the ownership of the property. And what I think we're, that flag lot, originally they didn't have it. And I have been involved in a lot of parcel maps before, and I've never seen a parcel map approved without access to utilities and a main road. So the purpose of that flag lot is to make it what I've always understood to be a legal lot for utility access, and it really doesn't have anything to do with ingress egress, because the ingress egress is going to be addressed the way it's been addressed since the buildings were originally built and purposed. It will be a permanent easement that covers that whole portion of the lot for ingress, egress, parking, and to operate those two back buildings. And I believe some of the parking, does some of the parking go to the front buildings on that, or is it just for the? Yeah, that the parking's shared, so the easement covers it all. We're not going to at all be changing the way the buildings operate. It's going to stay the same. So your question, could somebody come and put a fence up? No, they couldn't put a fence up and operate, because they would be infringing upon the other, owners or other tenants' right to operate within that space. So that's how we're intending to move forward in terms of the operation of the property. It's not going to operate any differently than it has for, gosh, I think we've owned it for over 15 years now, so.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Any more questions for Mr. Romero? No more questions. Thank you, Carlos. This moment, we'll close the public hearing again. Any more questions from the commission to staff? Do we have a motion on the floor to approve the tentative parcel map?
I make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Perroni.
I second.
Second by Commissioner
Uribe.
Uribe. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that will be for tentative map approval, but then we gotta go and approve
There-
each
there's-
resolution
Yeah, there's two
individually.
resolutions for each parcel.
So, do we have a motion for Resolution 2018-09? Approval of parcel 058, 020, 029. With the conditions as stipulated in Exhibit A and B.
I make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Perroni,
I second.
second by Commissioner Uribe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. Third motion, approval of resolution for tentative parcel map 058, 020, 028. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Perroni, second.
Second.
Commissioner Uribe, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Oh, that was it. Congratulations. Moving on with the agenda item. Discussion items. Ralph, do we have any discussion items?
Nothing to discuss at this time.
Staff comments.
No staff comments at this time.
Planning Commissioner's comment.
Yes, Ralph, I'd just like to know where we're at with the mixed use for the downtown.
We'll work on that, and we're hoping that by the next meeting, we can bring this before the Planning Commission as a public hearing to get comments from everybody. We'll be inviting the bid, trying to think of that, and also we'll be informing the businesses downtown, those that are interested, that they can come before the public hearing to make their comments on it.
Ralph, also, a recommendation, because sometimes we want to reinvent the wheel, but you know that we've been pushing this, I would say easily at least 20 years, and there's renderings, and you have them in your different departments, in economic development and planning, on what the downtown would look like. I would really like to see if we could bring those, so as we're giving a presentation for people to see what our downtown would look like. It'll be very helpful. And, again, it'll give ideals, because there were beautiful renderings on what they wanted to do downtown. So I think it'd be important to bring them in.
Yeah. We have, that study was done, I want to say, in the late 70s or 80s. And it was done by Urban Futures. So I have the plan that they had presented to the council at that time. So we can bring some of those pictures,
Yeah, and later on, in about 2004, there was some more, and they copied a lot of what they did downtown San Diego. So I think it'd be nice to see those.
Okay.
Ralph? I think in the past, we asked for an update as to the status of the temporary sign permit. And that was last year, that we began working on it, and something happened along the way that we dropped the bucket. Like Commissioner Perroni says, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we're going to pick up where we left off.
Okay.
If you will. Also, I'd like to know what's the status with Las Palmas subdivision. I've been receiving a lot of complaints from some citizens that live on that area. They see movement, construction that is going on, but they're not aware of what, some say it's a trailer park, some say it's combination, some say it's a pre-manufactured subdivision.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now you
Kind
focus.
of threw me off.
Okay. so
Yeah,
if you
and-
can just bring us up to speed with those
Okay.
developments that we have along Cole Road?
Yeah, excuse me, the Las Palmas project development, because that's a mobile home park, it falls under the jurisdiction of the county. But I'll go ahead and talk to them and get a report on it. I know they have been having some issues, they were having some issues with the IID as far as to who is going to run the electrical, well, more the electrical inside the units. And so that was an issue at one time, so it kind of came to a standstill. But at this point, I don't know what's going on, but I'll find out. I'll talk to the county on that.
Yeah, we get that. And also, I think in the last couple of meetings, I asked for the eyesores that we've been having throughout the city on burned buildings
Yes,
and the vacant lots that we
Yeah.
have a lot of debris flying around. And
Yeah.
you said you were working on an ordinance or?
we have an ordinance in place now for the abandoned properties,
Right.
which includes the residential, commercial, and industrial. So that's been approved and passed by the city council. So right now, I have a staff member working and getting a list of all, or inventory of all the vacant properties. Unfortunately, because of being so short in staff, we kind of hit and miss, and we do a little bit, and then we jump to other things. But we are working on it, we need to get it going. There are fire damaged properties within the city. We just attacked one of them on C.N. Perry. We had to get a warrant on that one through the court, and so we were able to clean that. The funny thing about that, as soon as the city went in there and they finished the cleaning, then the owners seem to have surfaced. So in a sense, it's good. I mean, they still are going to be billed for the time that the city spent on it. There are some other ones, and so once we're done with that one, then we'll start attacking the other ones. But I think with the abandoned ordinance, we can go straight to the owners, and because what we have now in our power is that we can charge a registration fee and a monitoring fee, and that can get pretty expensive for the owners. So hopefully, especially for the absentee owners, they'll get moving and try to rent those things out or at least clean them out. So we got the tools. Now we need the manpower to be able to do it. We lost one code enforcement officer, so hopefully the new fiscal year we'll be able to get another one to help out.
Volunteer engineers.
Hey, Ralph, I want to touch back to the concern that Josie had in regards to Las Palmas. I think you failed to explain how the project is really going to work. It's not a mobile home park. I guess part of what they're doing, Josie, they say it's a mobile home park, but they're going to sell pre-manufactured houses. But they want to say mobile home so they can charge you a land lease. So you can buy your house, but they're going to lease the land. That's, am I right? Mm-hmm. So I
Well,
think,
They have a-
basically, and I had I went round and round with the county on that, even when Mr. Villa was at the county. And we went as far as to calling the state HCD because they're basically have a permanent foundation and they're stick building the units there. The only thing that we couldn't convince the state to take it out of the mobile home status is that part of it is going to be an RV park. And so
so they could get away with it.
so the argument I got from the state is that anytime if there's any type of mobile home or RV that's connected to a project, then that will stay in everything else. In other words, now it becomes a mobile home park. So because of that, it's designated as a mobile home park.
Yeah, because, it really, that project, you would consider it like a condo project, because it's going to be a gated community, you're going to pay HOAs, and so really, they went through a lot of work to disguise it, because the houses, like you say, they're going to be on a foundation, they're going to be stick, they're going to be pre-manufactured houses. So, and they're going to be nice houses. Too bad the city couldn't get any action there.
Yeah.
We lost out on a lot of money there.
Well, the building permits for one thing,
Yeah.
and development, the impact fees. Yeah, they knew what they were doing and in their plan, because under the mobile home law, then the fees that they pay is a lot less than if they were to do conventional construction. But that's the way sometimes the ball rolls, so.
Thank you, Ralph.
Well, I'm confused. Well, I'm confused there. Like, they're gonna impact the city, we're gonna provide the services for free. Technically.
Well, technically. What happens is a while back, the all mobile home park were they're under the city's jurisdiction. But it's up to the city. What happened a while back is that the cities got together and they went ahead and gave the responsibility or jurisdiction to the county. So with that, then the state would deal not with all the cities, but they would still deal with one entity, which would be the county. And it's an agreement that the cities went into with the county. The county is more than happy to give it back to the cities because
They don't wanna
mobile
deal
home parks, especially the old ones, and I don't know if you heard about Brawley, they tore that down. We have some here that are in terrible conditions. And sometimes those become more of a hassle to keep on top of those than to let the county deal with it. But unfortunately, sometimes you take the good with the bad, and Las Palmas was one of those projects that the county was able to benefit from.
Ralph, and we don't even get impact fees?
We don't get nothing from it. Anything that's inside the property belongs to the county. The only fees that we received was any connections, any infrastructure that was done outside the property line.
So Okay, explain that to me, because that, to me, is totally chaotic and,
Yeah.
you know, it's not understandable. The parcel is annexed to the city.
The parcel is in the city,
It's in the
yes.
city.
And, but inside the property, the county has jurisdiction on that.
And that is only because of the water issue and the electrical with the IID, or?
Well, the issue
because-
that they had is because the owner wanted the ID to go in there and connect each unit. And under the mobile home park, then the service will come up to the property line, and then it's up to the owner to run the service to each unit. And so they had a conflict there, and I guess they tried to use some political assistance, and that didn't work. So that was one of the reasons why I kind of held back some. But in mobile home parks, then the services are put in by the owner, not the city or the ID.
So at this point, technically, the city can go ahead and reject all the conditions that were tentatively approved 5 years ago? Because the subdivision map has been lapsed for over 5 years. Am I correct?
I would have to check on that and see whether,
That's what I was
yeah.
more or less understood. So it's null and void, and we can start from square one.
Yeah, if the city wanted to take that position, they could.
They could, well, yeah, technically, because we're not, I mean, it'll be ludicrous for the city at this point with our short staff all around and deficit to give a lot of those millions of dollars away, not to mention staff time for free. Make no
Yeah,
sense.
that area is zoned mobile home, has a mobile home zoning on it.
Yes.
Well, the fire department would have to go in there and assist, and I'm not sure what the full agreement is, if the county has to show up, but there would be that mutual aid, as they call it, where both county and the city would have to go in there and put the fire on.
Okay, on a lighter note, how about town center? Where are we on that? Is that project still moving on?
Town center, okay, town center. Well, it's moving forward. We do have a couple of lots, we did there's a couple of lots there that they're going to be developing. We've been meeting with a developer that. They're new owners, yeah, yeah. Well, because it went through, the bank picked it up. So we met with a developer that wants to come in and wants to start building. They want to build, they're investors from overseas, and they want to come in and they want to start building. And so we're waiting on them to see if they come in. That's probably why you've seen, there's a sign out there. And basically, they're advertising their area, and they cleaned a little bit of the property, not the whole, not all their lots, but they built a little bit so that at least it'd be clean where the sign was gonna be, and so when the investors come in, they would see that part of it was clean. So we have that. There's another investor that I think he has purchased, he told me 3 parcels, and they're getting ready to submit, they're working on submitting plans right now. So it looks like it's moving. So we're hoping that these things become realistic, and if they do, then we'll be seeing some construction. This is one of the reasons why the cannabis is so important, not because they're going to be cultivating this product, but because they are going to be coming in, and there are going to be building attractive buildings, or at least new buildings, that this is going to hopefully open the door for other types of businesses to come in. Right now, you see a lot of investors, a lot of developers come in, and all they see is, land that's filthy, really. You got all these tumbleweeds, and then if you go inside, you go into these landfill spots that you have in there. But by getting somebody to come in, and the cannabis people are willing to do that, then we can assure that they're going to build something that's attractive, something that's gonna be nice, where they're going to then attract and bring in some other type of businesses that also want to do something there. So you have to start with something in order to be able to get some other things. So the only thing I can say right now that is looking positive, we've been meeting with some of these property owners, and so it looks like it's moving forward.
Okay. How about the Grand Plaza Phase 2?
Grand Plaza Phase 2, that is an interesting question. Well, we're working with them, and you know, at this point, I think they're more at the level that they're working with the city manager. They are looking, a while back, they took out a permit to do the shade over the outlets that's existing. So they have come back. And so we're waiting to see what they want to, if they're going to move forward on that. There's also a gas station that was proposed to be built within that area. And today, staff informed me that they called in, and I guess they're still interested. There were some questions that they had, and so it looked like they're going to be moving forward. There were some issues in the past, and those issues had to do with the setback. I think they were too close to the property, so now they've taken care of those issues, and so it looks like they'll be moving forward with the plans, and hopefully we got something there within the next 6 months.
One of my items that I recall that it was my concern was the New River Bridge. It was, I believe it was part of the condition that bridge be widened, and it was supposed to be done like within
Well, I
same
can't.
year, same time that those buildings were going
Yeah.
up, and I don't see it.
Well, my understanding is those plans are still there. It's going to get done. I really am not sure what the main reason is. The money is there to do it. But last time I asked, and that was about maybe
Yeah,
3
'cause
months ago, they were moving forward on it.
Yeah, my last conversation with Mr. Nick Finley as the acting Public Works Director, you know, and then later on as the interim city manager, it was the lack of staff. He didn't have an engineer on board, and they needed to contract or hire someone to do that so that they could present that project to the Grand Plaza. And we both talked about the new port of entry, the heavy traffic flow that will be going obviously on that side, and the concern on that old river bridge that will not withstand the traffic capacity with all the traffic flow. And he did say he was concerned, but that the lack of staff at that point was something that they had to be addressed with council, that apparently he did not have that support. After that, well, we know what happened. So I don't know if that's the issue, they got lost in the shuffle, but like you say, the money's there, we don't know where, who has what authority there or who's working on it. But if,
Yeah, it was my understanding that they are working on it, so we're hoping that it does get moving real
Okay.
soon.
well, thank you, Ralph, for your
Okay.
update. No other questions? No? Okay, make a motion to adjourn meeting.
So move.
Do we have a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Cardenas. All those in favor?